Hello and welcome to Take This TV, the television book club podcast where each week we watch an episode or two of our favorite shows and we talk about them with our friends in the fandom. That's you. I'm Carmen and I'm joined as always by the amazing Kimberly Woods. Hello.
Hey, hot potatoes! Today we're talking about Three Body again, and we're on episode 4 called Our Lord. Jen seeks justice after a death rattles the group. Investigators learn of an extremist group devoted to an otherworldly entity ahead of a major summit.
Mm. This episode was wild.
It was juicy. I like that we get to learn that Wen Jie kind of teamed up with Nepo baby Mike Evans.
King
to
Nepo
start
baby.
this cult.
Yeah.
We see them like shortly after Mao has died. And we learn that Wen Jie escaped the Red Coast base and is now teaching at the same university where her father taught before. And yeah, 2 years later, he's on this previous like oil tanker and has created another sort of Red Coast base with this satellite and has all these cultists.
Yeah. She's like, it's like seeing an old friend. I was like, how did she escape? I thought she was like supposed to be trapped there for life. But I guess that's a different story for a different time. But
Well, I think because like the Cultural Revolution at this point has died down with Mao, who was kind of the head of that movement. So that's kind of how she's able to go back and leave the base and then start teaching again because it's not being persecuted like it was.
I see.
Yeah.
Man. And then her and Nepo baby start making out. And I was like, yeah, I saw it coming. It's the ship, the thirst tracker is not alive for their ship. I'm just like, it doesn't do it for me. Good for them, I guess. They're kissing to the destruction of the human race.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not shipping this ship. Or their
Has
ship.
sunk.
Their literal ship too. Judgment Day.
What did you think about like sort of their idea to start this cult? Like were you surprised when that happened that they kind of teamed up to start it, or did you see that coming?
Well, it's been a weird experience coming because I'm reading book 1 and I'm watching the show. So I'm like discovering things sometimes right ahead of the show or like getting confused about what did I learn in the show versus in the book. So I think I knew that they had teamed up by the time I got to this episode, perhaps. But it was surprising. I didn't really expect that. Did you?
Yeah. No, well, I mean, I kind of saw it coming just because it felt really random that she met him back during the Cultural Revolution, but I didn't know that he would be so devout about it.
No. And how did he create this in 2 years?
Well, he's supposed to be like a billionaire, right? Like because they mentioned his dad had like an oil empire or something like that.
Yeah, but it's just wild because by the time she comes and he like shows her what he's been up to, he has this whole ship and all these messages.
Oh yeah, because he said the Santi was trying to message her over the last few years or whatever.
Yeah. And also, it's weird because in this episode, we see older Mike Evans communicating with the Santi. And they're communicating in real time. So it's like what once took round trip of 8 years for Wen Jie is now like happening in real time with the Santi.
So
which is scary.
So I have
What's
a
your
theory. So Mike Evans is like explaining the concept of lying in stories to our Lord, the Santi. And they're like, oh, we don't lie, we communicate through thought or whatever. And then they go silent for a long time, and Mike is really worried. And I'm like, dude, you messed up.
Yeah.
Nepo baby messed up. But my theory is that even though they said it's going to take them 4 light years or 400 years to get there, I feel like they're already there. And that's how they can communicate like
in real time.
Like really in real time, yeah.
That scene was so creepy to me for some reason. Like just that turn that happens when he's like innocently sharing stories and then suddenly we're learning like they're so like this culture is so baffled about the big bad wolf lying about being grandma and just
Mhm.
doesn't get it at all. And then when they go radio silent, you know, and that quote too, like, so this story, it's a lie about a liar.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, there's just something so creepy and terrifying about that. Like his one slip up of like trying to share about our culture just being flipped because they don't believe in making anything up or even a story.
Yeah, because they're like, "We wanna talk to the big bad wolf."
Yeah,
And
like
he's like, "Well, he's not real."
yeah, what forest do they live in?
Um,
So, yeah, and the fact that they're like, "We cannot coexist with liars, we're afraid of you."
the
And
part
it's
when they
like,
said, "We're
"Oh,
afraid of you," I was
no.
like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah. All this preparation, like, has it just gone kaput now?
Now we're enemies, yeah.
Also, I'm wondering too, right, because earlier in the episode when, Mike is talking to the Santi, and we're learning about the summit coming up, and the Santi is, like, giving him a heads up, like, "Hey, they know about the summit, they're gonna come, but don't worry, we'll protect you." And then they say something creepy like, "Oh, it's nice to see you smile."
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, what the hell? So they're just like, how they're, like, literally watching everybody, they can see
Like, how are
at
they
any moment.
watching? Yeah.
Yeah,
And how did they
it was
even
so
know that the cops were onto them? Like, yeah.
it was super creepy. But I wonder, like, so they said, "We'll protect you." Then they learn from, like, the story about the big bad wolf and that, like, humans lie. And then we see what happens at the end when they go to the summit, you know, they break in, chaos happens, some people die, and these like, these cultists think this is part of it, like, you know, the Lord would protect us if, you know, this
If this wasn't part of the plan, yeah.
exactly, but now we don't know, like, did they revoke their protection? Or is this part of the plan? Or the Santi like, "Oh, actually."
I mean, I also like, what does that mean when they say that they'll protect them? Like, would they does there be some divine intervention or something? Like, what does that mean? So,
I don't know.
I definitely am interested to see, like, if Mike ruined their relationship with the Santi or not. Um, I was also like when the raid happened and uh Dashi, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he shoots Cigarette Girl, I was like, finish her, finish her, double tap. But he didn't do it.
Also, like, why is Cigarette Girl she seems jealous of Jin, or, like,
Oh,
Jin and Wen
because
Jie's relationship, which is interesting to me.
it feels like she wanted to be favored, and so she's jealous that
Yeah.
Jin is favored. But like, I feel like she is so devout that like she takes a personal offense to Jen betraying them. I mean, because she says that she's been a part of this cult since she was a baby.
Mhm.
So it's like she's grown up indoctrinated in this cult and she feels like these people in this cult are her family. And I
Yeah.
was just like, oh no, like this person is too far gone. Like, yeah.
In the book, it's interesting, uh, because we learn about 3 different groups within the organization. I don't think they're doing that in the show, but they might be, like, having, like, those ideologies, like, go into different people.
Hmm.
So in the book, there's like 3 different groups. One's the Adventists, and in the book, like, Evans is an Adventist, and they want humanity to be destroyed. They're like,
Oh.
I'm on board the Santi coming," which, you know, in the book, they're called, like, the Trisolarans because of the
Hmm.
3 sons, but they're like, "I'm on board the Santi coming so it can be destroyed." And survivalists are like, "They're gonna conquer us, we just have to, like, be prepared to, like, survive that." And prepare everybody for how to, like, survive through something like that. And the
Like doomsday
redemptionists are
preppers.
like yeah.
Okay.
Redemptionists are like, "We can't save ourselves, so we need somebody else who's more advanced, like a type 3 civilization, to come and save us."
Oh man. Well, it's so interesting about the civilization types. So
Yeah.
if You don't know what that means. It's oh man, I wasn't ready for this. I don't have my notes. Anyway, there's this theory about types of advanced civilizations and how our world and our civilization is like a type 2 civilization. And then like when you get spacefaring travel and when you can harness the power of your star and then when you can go out beyond your solar system and all that, you advance into other types of civilizations. And so the fact that the Santi have this advanced technology for um, to be able to travel across the cosmos to a different solar system makes them way more advanced than us. So by the logic of these civilization types, then we wouldn't stand a chance if there was a war between our civilizations. Um, and so I think that's really interesting that there are like those different factions because it does
Yeah.
seem like everybody in the show are kind of like on the same page of like we can't save ourselves, so we need to be
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out because it's like I feel like initially in the series it felt like Wen Jie was like burn it all to the ground after the stuff that happened to her, but I don't know if her like stance shifted over time to the because does seem to be now more in the like we can't save ourselves, humanity is too far gone. We need somebody more advanced to step in and help.
to subjugate us. Yeah.
And Cigarette Girl seems like the way she's going around killing humans, she seems like she might be on the side of like, we just need to be destroyed. Anybody who's
Mercilessly
not
killing people.
worthy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know about Evans in this telling seems more devout. Like he's just like, oh,
It's
like,
really interesting because
yeah,
especially as someone with like a lot of money and power, it's like what is like his goal with all of this?
yeah,
I guess he's an old man now, so I guess he doesn't he's not gonna like because there's a little girl who comes up to him in the hallway and it's like, oh, how are we gonna live to see when they arrive? And then he's like, you don't know what the Santi can do. If they want us to be there, we'll be there. And I was like, what does
yeah.
that mean? Like, are you gonna be immortal now or something?
And also he has this quote in the beginning, which is like, in order to fight power, sometimes you have to embrace power. And so I feel like maybe that's what he believes he's doing with the Santi. Maybe he's trying to embrace their power for a.
I thought that at first, but then I was like, and maybe he's just not like a manipulative kind of like little finger characters because I was like, if you know that the Santi don't lie in their culture and don't understand lying, then I feel like that's
Mhm.
a weapon that you can use against them. So why would you tell them about it? Why would you give up the
Yeah.
game like that? But it
Yeah.
seems like he was like you said, really devout and like he
Yeah.
really believed that he could be open with the Santi and
Yeah.
this might pay a price for it.
Yeah. And that he was the one that was gonna really teach them our ways. Like that was his, holy honor to
Like a
impart.
shepherd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Jen goes undercover. And the whole time Jen was undercover, I was like, you're asking too many questions. It's suspicious. Did you think that?
I can't even like, what was she asking? I didn't think she was that good at, like, playing the part.
Yeah. Well, because
She
the
she
driver
kept
picks
she
them up and she's like, oh,
Yeah.
well, like, where are we going? Who are we going to meet? And all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, no, you're giving yourself away.
You're going to the summit. You're excited. Come on. You reached the next level. I thought it
Yeah.
was funny, like, when Augie was talking to Jin, and they had that moment where she says, um, "We don't know how to fight aliens, but the people that work for them aren't aliens." And then she says, "I've been fighting people my whole life, and so have you." And I was like, "What?
Mhm. Yeah, I don't get Augie,
What?
man. Like,
What?" I was like, just battles? Just, like, personal battles in the workspace? Or
I
that
assume that's
line
what she
was
meant of like climbing your way to the top and like all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know.
no.
I was just like, whatever,
That's really
Augie.
funny. Apparently, because as you know, Carmen, Andrew, my husband's been reading the whole series. The character of what is his name? The Onion Knight? The
Oh, I forget his name.
the Onion Knight who's, like, always, like, talking to Dashi.
Mhm, he's like the captain or
He's
something.
a character from book 3.
Oh.
So that's how much of a scramble, like, we're having in this initial season is, like, they're pulling stuff from all over, so
Oh, wow, okay. I
yeah,
didn't know that. That's really cool
apparently.
to know.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know. They're telling things in a different order.
I'm, like, curious now that I know that, like, the Santi won't arrive, as they say, for 400 years, then it's like, if they were telling the truth about that, are we gonna have a time skip? Are we gonna, like, ever see them actually arrive? I'm really curious.
I don't know. I was shocked by that, the 400 years.
Yeah. I also feel like there's a part of me that's like, where's the government? Like, I know that like there's that scene at the end where they take Wen Jie into the like council room, and I think I could be misremembering because it's been a little while since I watched it, but I think there were like dignitaries from different countries there with different flags. Um,
Oh,
and it's was am I misremembering
I
that,
don't
or
know.
was
I
it
don't can't
okay?
really remember either.
But I feel like there were like folks there, like the UN or whatever, who were kind of like a council that he was Onion Knight was bringing her before,
Uh-huh.
and so I was like, oh, okay, so like the world governments are taking this seriously. Of like, oh, there's some there's some kind of cult that may or may not have made contact with a more
Yeah.
advanced alien civilization that we should try to figure this out.
Yeah. I just think, like, 400 years, like, continuing this message. Like, let's say they don't get here before then. That's a long time.
Yeah, to pass on the doctrine of their little cult. Yeah. That's like that's 4 or 5 generations of people
Yeah.
just passing down these legends of the aliens that are gonna come save us.
And I still
Us
wanna know, like, what's gonna be the most destructive thing? Is it actually the aliens, or will it be ourselves?
Mm, that's deep. I mean, I feel like we know what Mike Evans would say. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. I mean, I definitely think that like I started off watching this show and not liking it, and now after this episode, I was like, oh, I want to watch the next episode right now and find out what happens.
Yeah,
But I'm curious to see where it goes.
me too. I can't wait. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Remember, we're at Take This TV on TikTok and Instagram. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, it's dangerous to watch TV alone.